Comics and powered by the Red 5 Network. For more, visit red5.bio.link.
Good morning! Happy New Year! I know I'm wearing my sweater. I'm very cold. I'm cold. It's very chilly in here. I can't stop touching things. I don't know what to do with my hands. Welcome back to Comics and Live. Check it out. I've got headphones on. Like they're not sticking in my ears and driving me crazy. That's nice, right? Does everything sound better? Let me know in the comments. Let me know. I really hope everything sounds better because let me tell y'all something. I tried very hard to utilize my time off wisely. I hope you can see that the background behind me is different. I spent several days, cleaning the hell out of the studio. I reorganized everything. I reorganized everything. And I did some more soundproofing. I covered my desk in, actually, I covered it in like the floor padding you put down before you put down your hardwood floors. So my metal desk is covered, and I had like one piece of egg crate, and that's on the other side, and I've got some stuff up over here, and hopefully everything sounds a little bit better. I've got my dry erase boards going. My schedule is set. There's so much going on. I had a wonderful holiday. Did you guys have a good holiday? Did you? I missed you. I did miss you. But we've got huge stuff going on. Huge stuff. So before we go any further, before I start like really digging in to the mild changes, I mean, nothing really that's going to affect the live stream or the breakdowns. Before I get into the little changes, the announcements and stuff, please do me a huge solid. Hit the like button, subscribe if you are new, and ring the notification bell so you get notified whenever I'm back with even more of this nerdy nonsense. Because yeah, that's what we're here for. Sorry, I just did my hair and I can't do a thing with it. You know how I am. Anxiety issue. I have to touch it. Okay, so announcement time. It's totally official. Like official. I am writing a comic book. What? What was that? You're what? Writing a comic book? Seriously, guys, like really writing a comic book. I am so stupid excited. It is an adaptation of this that I published when I was in my early to mid 20s. That's baby me right here on the back cover. See if I can. There you go. It's baby me right there. So this is the original. I call it the first draft. If you want more information about this one, you can read it if you so choose. But the Patreon is pretty much going to become the home of the comic book. I'm going to go ahead and start to bring the music down. So the Patreon is going to be where you can find everything about the comic book. Because the way things work these days, I'm an indie creator. I'm not part of a company, a corporation, or a publisher. So I got to do it myself, which is fine. First and foremost, I have an amazing audience. I have you guys. You guys are fantastic and you are so supportive. So I have you. And on top of that, I have an amazing editor. Her name is Caro, and she's a published comic book writer and author herself. She's absolutely phenomenal. And the suggestions she's already given me have just been just amazing. And it was her suggestion that we start to kind of funnel people for comic book information, for my comic book information, towards the Patreon. So if you want information about the comic book, check out the Patreon. There is a video and a couple of posts that are completely free to the public. Completely free. So if you want to know basically what this book is about, why I wrote it, when I wrote it, its influence on my life, and the funny story about the shitty publisher I had, go to the Patreon, check that out. It's free to the public. It's a very personal story, incredibly personal. There's a very specific reason why this got written. So free to the public, go to patreon.com/comicsand to check that out. But beyond that, all information about the comic book will be behind a paywall so I can help fund the comic book, because it is going to cost money. Like, I will have to pay artists. We'll have to pay artists and pay to have it printed, and we'll have to eventually find a way to pay my editor, who's amazing. So that's basically what the Patreon is boiling down to right now. I do have a video up right now about the universe that I'm building, like the rules behind it. And I'm going to go more into depth. Every week I'm going to post a vlog about the behind the scenes, like what I'm working on, etc. So that will be found on the Patreon as well. You can take a look at sneak peeks, like script work, story edits. When I finally get some concept art and pages, it will all be there. Once I have an official real name for the comic book, it will be there as well. Right now it's My Comic Book Work in Progress or Forsaken. I'm up to, suggestions. There is a poll up right now for the comic book as well. So if you guys want to hop on over there and vote for me, that would be super helpful. I'm trying to come up with a name for a union for these mystical creatures that are contractually obligated to take care of establishments. So go check that out. I am so excited. I'm so excited for this comic book. Like, I've worked so hard on it. It's something that I've been working on for or trying to work on for 20 years. And I've basically spent the entire, holiday break writing, cleaning, and then writing, and then rewriting. And I've discovered how much I love rewrites and learning about fourth dimensional theories and ancient Greece. How does that all tie together? Hop on over to the Patreon. I'm really, really excited. I know I seem super calm right now, but that's just me. I mean, I thought the video where I explain things called Universe 101, I'm super into it. But that's not why you're here today, right? Like, hello, hi, have I talked to you about ancient Greek vampires and superheroes that have fake legs that are weaponized with super cool attachments like Q would do for James Bond? Hi. Oh, only 5 times today? Great. Because we're probably going to go for 12. That's my life now. But I just want you guys to know I have made myself a very tight schedule and I'm sticking to it. So the channel is still a priority. The channel is like everything to me, and the comic book would be nothing without the channel. So don't worry, the channel is still number one good time. I promise. I have everything mapped out so nothing gets left by the wayside. I'm even waking up like an hour and a half earlier than I was. And so far I'm doing great with that. But everything is like there's no wiggle room allowed in my schedule. I am like airtight. So if you were probably stressed out about how, man, I DM'd her and she doesn't get back to me. Yeah, that's probably going to be even worse. Like I answer messages like one time a day now when I'm having my coffee. Your best option is to reach out through the website at this point because I'm like so stretched for time. But I couldn't be happier. I'm so excited. I have such a good feeling and such good vibes, and I'm so in love with my comic book. And again, I have the most amazing editor in the entire world, and her name is Carol Brown. She publishes through Rippaverse Comics, through Eric July, and she's got a comics out called Dirty Deeds. Highly recommend. Go check her out. She's amazing, funny, smart. Anywho, go over to patreon.com/comics and immediately sign up. Even if you just like sign up for the free level to watch those first couple of like free things I've got there, just to share them. Maybe someone else can join, but please, I need your help. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. All right. As always, let's scream good morning to the chat. And then we're going to move on to our topic. And it's a doozy today. Okay. It's the first stream of the year, and it is quite the doozy. Okay. Stranger Things finale has happened, or has it? There's quite the contention going on the interwebs everywhere. It's quite the conversation, and we are going to absolutely break it down. I have like a whole thing of notes. This finale was so full of holes and indiscrepancies from all the previous seasons that there was no room in today's stream to have any other frigging topic. No room. Like my schedule. There's no room for anything else. Dave today. I'd take you golfing with me later this afternoon. Have you seen my schedule? Oh, schedule. Please leave. Please leave. Bye-bye. All right, let's yell good morning. Remember, hit the like button, subscribe if you're new, ring that notification bell so you get notified whenever I'm back with even more of this nerdy nonsense. Good morning, Omari. He says, you haven't streamed since last year. This is very concerning. Also, hello. Yes, I know. It's been since last year. I know. I've taken off how much, like 8 days, it's a lot. I needed the time off, to be fair. I needed the time off. I feel like I didn't contour my nose properly. Anyway, I needed it. It helped. I mean, don't you think this looks nicer? And there's so much room for activities. Like if I scoot back, I can. And everything's like wireless now, so I won't get caught up in anything. This is nice. It's very nice. Okay. Good morning, Penny. Dani, I'm sick. I'll try to stay away. Yes, social distance, please. Well, I really hope you get to feeling better. The last time I was here, you weren't feeling well. So get to feeling better, lady. Lots of fluids. Lots of fluids and rest. Good morning, Monique. Happy New Year, y'all. Taking mama for a bit of a drive to get some errands done. Aw, what a good daughter you are. Oh, I forgot. Members first. See, this has been so long. Members and super chats are supposed to get their good mornings first. I am off my game. I am sorry. Apologies. Member of the channel, Ensign Deranged Lunatic of the Nerdling Army. Good morning. Good morning and welcome back, everyone. Lieutenant, member of the channel, Backyard TARDIS. Good morning. Good morning. Do we have any other members? We do. Good morning, Ensign Patricia. Good morning. Good morning, Ensign Loki. Good morning. No, I don't even know what he's yapping about. I've been down a rabbit hole. Okay, I've been down a rabbit hole. We're gonna talk about it. We're gonna talk about it in a minute. Okay, we're gonna talk about it in a minute. And I feel bad that I forgot about doing the members first. Good morning, Fernando. Buenos dias. Happy New Year. Prospero año. Danny Shakespeare. I like that. Good morning, Maria. How are you? Am I screaming like really, really loud? I can't tell. Headphones. Did I get everybody? I think I got everyone. Okay. Okay. Back to it then. Okay. So, y'all, I went down a rabbit hole. So, first of all, I kept seeing this hashtag called CONFORMITYGATE. Okay. And I mean, I had noticed, I was looking up all this stuff because I noticed a poop load of inconsistencies, indiscrepancies, inconsistencies, like the Duffers like forgot all of their own shit. Like, and I made this joke, like I tagged Caro in it, and I said, I feel like the Duffers should have had my editor in her magical spreadsheet. Like, she gave me this spreadsheet for me to like keep track of my characters, who they are and what they do, and then blah blah blah. Okay. So I'm gonna pull up a screen just so we have something else to kind of reference. All right. So this is just some crazy shit all the way around. So I was looking up all kinds of stuff because season 5 was just so full of not necessarily holes. There were holes, but stuff that was just wrong. Do you know what I mean? Like things that were just, okay, that's not right. Okay, that's not what they had in the previous seasons. That's not what they had over here. That's incorrect. So I would look things up to double check my math. Like, okay, let's look this up. So I start seeing this thing called CONFORMITYGATE. Like, what the hell is CONFORMITYGATE? I don't get it. What is this? What is this? So CONFORMITYGATE essentially is all the characters have basically grown up into conforming to society and being what they didn't want to be. They've turned into their parents, kind of like what we all do. We all grow up and we turn into our parents in some fashion, right? And this is demonstrated in how they style their hair later in the season, how they dress, how they behave. Like Mike and Nancy's hair, which is, I'm going to be very honest for the younger audience out there, very 80s. Okay. Very, very 80s, but it does, kind of reflect their parents. And also Vecna's hair, Henry's hair. Listen, my mom had that hairdo. She had that right up until like mid 2000s. So, like, I had like a trauma response to it. Someone asked me, like, why did they give Dr. K this haircut? Like, to remind me of my mother's horrendous haircut? Possibly. So there were a lot of things. Good morning, Lord Toth. Good morning, Toth. Deranged Lunatic, member of the channel, ensign in the Nerdling Army, says the last season of Stranger Things was not great. It had good parts, but all in all, it was not great. No, it was not. And Lord Toth, you missed the announcement. I'm writing a comic book. Legit, full steam ahead. Absolutely. If you want to learn more, please go check out the Patreon shortly later. After this, I don't know why I said it like that. That was weird. But I am writing a comic book. It's totally cool. It really is. Vampires, weaponized prosthetic legs, ancient Greek gods, dimensional stuff, science, fantasy, horror, all in one. Patreon.com/comicsan. Okay. So, just a lot of stuff. It felt like lazy writing to me, cowardly writing. It felt corny. This is all like my first reaction to it. Like, while I'm watching it, I'm going, what? Like, when after Will gives his 7-minute monologue, one of the longest scenes, gives a 7-minute monologue, as you know, for coming out in the most awkward way possible. He's talking to Mike as they're climbing the tower, and he says, oh, you know, you still want to be friends with me? And Mike goes, friends? No thanks. Best friends. It's so corny and lame. Like, seriously, that was just the worst. Now, before anyone comes for me, I want to say a couple things. One, I understand why Will had to come out. Okay. I understand that. But one, they should have shown the horrors that Vecna showed Will. They just left that out entirely. Just left it out. Too much of this final season, especially the finale, was left to the viewer's imagination, and that is just absolutely cowardly. But they should have hung a lantern on that. They should have shown us the horrors so we could feel Will's fear, so we could understand Will's terror and apprehension. We should have understood that. Building up to that monologue. Two, the monologue felt so unnatural. And this is coming from someone who was in Joyce's seat once, speaking as a mom who has been on the receiving end of a child who has come out. That is not how that conversation went. It didn't feel natural. Now, I know these conversations can be uncomfortable and awkward, and it was, but it didn't feel like human dialogue. It felt like a Chat GPT dialogue to me. It just really did. So there's that. And it was way too long. Like, here we are. There's supposed to be this sense of urgency. You know, reality is about to be destroyed. Another world is being transported on top of Earth. Like, we're having their own version of an incursion. And, but we have time for this 7-minute monologue. Also, if they were going to do that, mayhaps they should not have had 2 7-minute monologues in the same episode, because Max had her little podcast with Holly, not but a moment earlier. Like, I just remember going, come on, get on with it. What is happening here? Get moving. We've got shit to do. It was just, it felt awkward and amateurish to me as someone who has not once written a television series. Good morning, Joel Familia. Now, before I get on to my next point, I will check in with the chat. Fernando, the whole coming out of the closet in order to overcome a huge problem was very lame. So the thing I understood it as was that Vecna uses your fears against you, like Freddy in Nightmare on Elm Street. He's using your worst fears to, weaken you, to steal your willpower, So I understood that he had to overcome that fear in order to do so. However, as I said, they didn't do a very good job of showing that. They show Vecna like going, and then him just going, and then they didn't show what he was actually showing him. We just hear Will's account of it, and it was just like, we all grew apart. Come on, you cowards. Like, show them what could have really happened in 1987. Like, for reals, y'all. Let's show them what the real consequences of coming out in 1987 could have been like. Like that would have been really terrifying for a teenage boy. Let me tell you something for free. Like that, come on, tell the truth. Be actually scary. Actually take a risk. It was like there were no real stakes. So there you have that. Okay. Fernando, Will should have killed Vecna instead of Mom. That's another thing. I have, as a perimenopausal woman, I know it's been like a whole week and a half since I've mentioned it. So women, older women, especially postmenopausal women, we lose a lot of muscle and bone density. So we have to eat so much protein. We have to work out with like heavy weights to keep muscle tone and stuff up. I now get up at 6 a.m. to work out and stuff to keep that from happening. And here Joyce has been carrying around this axe for God knows how long, has never used it. And she's like, you messed with the wrong family. And she goes, he's laying like this, okay? Vecna's laying like this. Can you see me? Like this, okay? So the soft tissue is exposed. Not the bone part, not the hard vertebrae. By the way, see my fleur-de-lis? Got a tattoo back there too. Anyway, not the hard bone, but the soft tissue. All right? And it's bent backwards, which opens up a bigger gap here. And cartilage is actually, softer than bone. I don't know if the Duffers know this. So soft tissue, right? She has an axe. Okay? And you don't have to be really muscular to use an axe effectively. That's why axes are so dope. You just use gravity and centrifugal force. Okay? You use physics. Now, granted, physics may be a little different on that planet. That's something else we're going to get to in a second. But it took her like 10 or 12 whacks to chop his head off. In all reality, she could have like one whack. Soft tissue first, okay? Remember, soft tissue. And then gravity and the weight of his head could have just like ripped it right off. So either Joyce is suffering from that issue so many postmenopausal women suffer from. You know, she's not eating enough protein. She's not working out with any heavy weights and has zero muscle or bone density. Or she brought the dullest axe she could possibly find to the monster fight on a different planet. And she's just, eh, eh, eh. Like she didn't practice with it at all. All the anger and rage that she's felt for the last, 5 seasons. She never chopped it. I would. I get mad, I go chop wood. Come on. So that was a big issue right there. Hello. Maria, I've never picked up an axe in my life. You should. It's fun. Go axe throwing. It's a good time. Here's a tip. Don't try to throw it as hard as you can. Just send it. Just aim it and let her go. You don't have to be that strong. Okay. Let's check in with the chat. Joe Familia. That was bullshitting. Deranged Ludic, member of the channel. As somebody who is very much alive back in the mid-late 80s, people did not come out in front of God and everybody. Maybe their family and close friends, but that's about it, which is what he did. Those were his family and close friends. Malia, if they were chicken shit, to tell us the true 80s reaction. And member of the channel, Ensign Loki says, where were all the Larry Bird posters and jerseys? Right? Larry Bird was a big effing deal in the mid 80s. I'm here to tell you. He absolutely was. So there's my issue with Joyce. Let's see, Omari. The only way people came out back then was if accompanied by awes and studio applause. Okay. So there's some of those issues. I have a lot of notes here. I need a drink. Okay. Dr. K. Dr. K. Linda Hamilton. Totally pointless. One of the most legendary women in sci-fi history. It's completely pointless. The military is occupying the town, basically imprisoned the town of Hawkins and occupied the Upside Down. They're experimenting on these creatures. They have a bunch of pregnant women, pregnant with fetuses that are infused with Eight's blood, Kali's blood. Okay. They're doing all these experiments. And then a bunch of not very well-trained children, Joyce Byers, who can't swing an axe, a science teacher who just found out about all of this, Hopper, who was up until this point, he got captured by Russians, was just the town sheriff, an overweight, drunk town sheriff. They're all able to sneak into this highly secure military base. Not to mention, it doesn't go without saying that, okay, so Murray, I do love the character of Murray, but you gotta admit, him smuggling in grenades and rocket launchers and weapons and stuff in this truck to the most secure town in the United States of America is just total crap. Speaking as someone who lived on a military post, because at this point That's what Hawkins is. It's occupied by the United States military. It is a military presence. This is federal property at this point. And so to get in and out, you have to have a military ID, you have to have clearance, etc. I lived on post during 9/11, and this is on a post like thousands of miles away from where the actual attack was, and it was still very, very close, tight scrutiny. So if I wanted to get on post, I had to show my ID, my military ID, get out of my car. They inspected my car with dogs, and then they had mirrors that they went around and like looked under my car and stuff. Like they went through the whole vehicle, like, okay, get back in and then get back on post. So you're telling me that this town splits open in like 4 ways, splits open, and with like interdimensional stuff, they slap a metal band-aid on it and they've locked the whole town down. But Murray is able to drive a box truck in with a bunch of weapons and they don't check it at all. Okay. Sure thing. Sure thing. Good job, Murray. He's super charming, I guess. So you've got that there. Then you've got Dr. K, Linda Hamilton. You've cast the most legendary woman in all of sci-fi, and she has the most pointless role this season. She is abducting children. She is dissecting and experimenting on these demos, various versions of them, and even pointing out to us, like, we are reminded that the Demogorgons prefer it to be cold, ice cold, and when it's hot, they're weaker. That's important. At the end, you know, Hopper, the town sheriff, former town sheriff, Joyce, the postmenopausal weakling who's just always stressed out, a bunch of kids, and a science teacher who's just discovered all of this, are able to break in to the military post, kill a bunch of service members, get the better of them, and then the military just disappears. Well, I guess I'll go home now. Are you kidding me? What were they dissecting them for? Like, what was the plan here? You're telling me they're like, well, you know, you got us. Good job. No Leavenworth for you. You get to go free. Seriously? What was even the point to all of that? Like, why was she dissecting these creatures? What was the point? She just none. There was none whatsoever. It was absolutely ridiculous. I can't even. And Collie 8, you know, sister, was just missed opportunity. I really thought that the finale was going to end up being a battle between 11 and 8, because she was so insufferable and so mean and constantly suggesting that, you know, it's never going to be over. You're going to have to delete yourself because they're going to keep coming for you. They're using our blood to make more babies. They've got all these pregnant women comatose. Like, what the? And it all just, like, don't look over there. Don't look over there. Okay, so there's that issue. Good morning, Travis. I wish we had closure for Dr. Owens. The last we saw him, he was tied up in the military season 4. Him being in Dr. K's custody would have made sense. That's another thing. all of these characters, we don't see Dr. Owens again. We don't see Susie. Where the f is Max's mom? Max has her brother killed. She's in a coma for 2 years. Comes out, still manages to graduate high school, even though she missed half of her high school experience. Her mom is nowhere to be seen. All of these characters, Argyle, just gone. Just gone. And someone tried to tell me, like, well, Dr. Owens' story was done. So, they just moved on from him. Like, my ass. There's no way. There's no way. There's no way Dr. Owens' story was just done. Is my child trying to talk to me while I'm live streaming? I can't tell. So, come here. Just come in here. She's trying to tell us stuff about Stranger Things.
Dr. Owens died and Argyle stayed where they moved to when they got.
When did Dr. Owens die?
He's the one who helped, right?
Yeah, but he didn't die. Papa died. Dr. Owens didn't die.
I'm pretty sure they both died.
No, Dr. Owens didn't die. So my daughter thinks Dr. Owens died. See, they're gaslighting us. Dr. Owens didn't die. Maria. It was a secret military operation. They had to disappear, Dani. It doesn't. Listen. No. They will make you disappear. Come on. The government on a black book operation. They're not going to accept any kind of culpability. They're going to make you disappear too. Good morning, contributing editor Keno Lieutenant Nerdling Keno. Happy New Year to you as well. No. They don't have to do anything. They will cover anything up. They do it all the time, and that's reality. That's real. So Dr. Owens disappears, Argyle disappears, Susie disappears, Max's mom disappears. Like, it's all gone. And then they feed us some line of crap that and this comes from Gatton Matarazzo, Dustin Henderson's actor, says that, Dustin went through a lot after losing Eddie, and it would make sense that while he's going through that and being, kind of mean and stuff, that he would break off that long distance relationship, which starts with the list of things that happened off screen. Dustin breaks up with Susie. I think off screen, which happens and exists outside the perspective of the audience. So how could it possibly exist? Which it doesn't. If it happens off screen, it doesn't exist. Them's the rules. Like, them's the rules. They decided it would be a great idea to have a Broadway play happen on Broadway and it be canon. Never mind that 99.99999999999% of the audience is never going to travel all the way to Broadway to see this thing. Never mind be able to afford it. Come on. So that's stupid. That was stupid right there. So that's the first thing that happens off screen that is apparently to the Duffers canon. So all this stuff starts happening off screen that apparently has weight for season 5. So stupid. For one, Dusty breaks up with Susie Poo. Stupid move, Dusty. That girl was wife material. That girl's going to grow up to be the best wife any man would be so lucky to have. Ask me how I know. Second thing that happens off screen and outside of the perspective of the Netflix audience. Will and Henry have the same birthday. They realize that off screen and never mention it on screen, but it's important somehow. Never gets mentioned, never gets explored or expanded. Like, all these things are so important and could have had amazing bearing and made the story so much richer. Nope. Happened off screen. Another thing that happened off screen. Joyce and Hop realize that Henry was a classmate of theirs, that they went to school with him, and that there's some kind of significance with that play in Henry's memory where Max takes Elle and Collie to sneak into his gorgeous Victorian mind house. They never explain to us what the significance is. Never. Ever. It all happened off screen. Off screen! Travis, just a scene in the epilogue to see Dr. Owens in the diner from season 4 as it rains outside. A plate of waffles just put at the table. The rain stops. A rainbow appears as he remembers 11 smiling. Also, Eddie's uncle, who walks outside with Dustin in the finale, season 4. You get the impression that he's going to play some role, but he's gone. Yeah, you never see him again. Never see him again. Yep. And there was some confusion with people, like, when you see the names on the play flyer. Sorry, I'm having a bit of an issue with my headphones and my glasses colliding. When you see all the names on the play flyer and it's all the parents of all the kids, there was confusion. Some people would correct me and say that's Eddie's uncle. No, it was Eddie's dad. But that's how badly they fumbled that. They couldn't get his name right. So, okay. That was another thing that happened off screen. Another thing that happened off screen. Dustin gets Eddie's bat tattoo on his forearm. You know, the bat that foreshadowed Eddie's death. Dustin gets the same bat tattoo, but we never see it. We happen to see it in a behind the scenes shot that got shared around on the interwebs. Off screen. More stuff that happened off screen. And all of this gets explained in the interview with the Duffers. And I'm going to pull this up because I've never seen anything so. This is some Game of Thrones. This is some Game of Thrones level crap. Okay, let me get through the rest of this, and then we're gonna get into the Duffers' stupid as shit interviews because they're really bad. They're really bad. Okay. So some of the other discrepancies that have been noticed in season 5 from the rest of the seasons of Stranger Things. And some of them seem kind of silly, but there are people you have on your team, they're crew members that you hire that keep track of these things for you and say, no. We've got to do it this way because you had it this way. It's people to keep the continuity. So it's all over the place. Absolutely all over the place. Also, like, they really screwed over Ted Wheeler's character. Listen, if I'd grown up with a dad who cared that much about me and hung around that much, why would you make him look like dads suck. Because I wanted a dad that was there all the time. And they just made it look like that was so lame. And we shouldn't like him. Like, I love Ted. And Ted finally got his moment and then gets put in a coma. And then, we don't care about him. And that's stupid and it sucks. So anyway, Will and Henry have the same birthday. Never gets explored. Continuity error, at least maybe continuity error, but it definitely is. The basement door opens on different sides. Like when Mike goes up the stairs at the very last frame, it's on a totally different hinge. The hinges are on a different side. There's a game in Hopper's cabin called What's It? The dial at the radio station used to be red. Now it's gray, like the merry-go-round in Holly's memory used to be yellow, then it was gray. The graduation, when you look at all the inconsistencies, is really creepy. So at the graduation, first of all, when Nancy graduated just a few years earlier, they wore green gowns. It's in her book, her yearbook or whatever. They all wore green gowns. The colors for Hawkins is yellow and green. When the kids graduate in 89, our main characters, the party, everyone's wearing orange. So not just that, that's the color that Henry wore when he graduated high school from Hawkins. It was orange. That was Henry's color. So they also all sit holding their hands like Henry did in every scene. When he was like an orderly, he would stand with his hands like this. Hold on, I'm trying to keep, okay. So there's also exactly 12 students wearing sunglasses. There's a blank, but there's parents and family members holding poster boards up. There's one person in the back holding a yellow one and it's completely blank. Like there's nothing on it. So I don't know if these are like straight up errors or if this is all on purpose. So that's kind of weird. There's also an Easter egg where a guy's wearing a shirt that says Duffers on it. So that's okay. It was Joe Keery's idea that the credits should roll to the song Heroes. The song is actually played a couple of other times throughout the series history. The first time it plays is when they are fishing Will's fake body out of the lake. When they fish his fake body out of the lake, Heroes is playing. When they think Hopper dies, Heroes is playing. When the kids split up, the party split, no one knows what's happening to the other. When he goes to California, Heroes is playing. So it's kind of like it makes you think like maybe it's an indication that we don't really know what's going on here. And the Wheeler kids get haircuts kind of like their parents. Also, Mike has the same hair and glasses as Vecna. Max is acting like her brother with the throwing things around. The pizza box in the basement says pizza 1 because Henry is 1. The books on the shelf, they're D&D manual. They're binders. The final words across the letters align to X, a lie, like Dimension X, like it was a lie. Also, remember when they were in Dimension X, right? They're in Dimension X and they're fighting the Mind Flayer / Vecna. Where were all the Demogorgons? Where are the Demogorgons? Where are the bats? Where were the Demodogs? Where was literally anyone? And why was it a hot desert planet? I thought they liked it cold. Isn't that where they're from? I thought they liked it cold. In that interview that we're getting ready to look at, the Duffers are like, yeah, well, they didn't think they'd get attacked, so they were off somewhere else. Shut up. You got to be kidding me. So there's also a book in the basement that is called The Empty Copper. I've looked it up. Take a sip. I've looked it up. And The Empty Copper is a book that's about false endings, people disappearing instead of facing the consequences of their actions. It's about reality, the reality not matching the official story. There's a death that doesn't feel resolved. Something looks resolved, like the official story is closed, but the moral truth is not settled, like not resolved. Characters and plots disappear or end off. Okay, that was another line. So anyway, that seems kind of telling. Also, when they're, you know what? Let's take a second, check in with the chat. Let's check in. Good morning, Samar. Happy New Year. Missed you too. Hope script you writing is even more fun to write. It is. It's so fun. You should hop on over to the Patreon. Patreon/comics, and just check it out. All the comic information is over there. Travis, season 3 for me was the show at its best. As the stakes increased in 4 with killer jocks, government shooting up houses, and Russian monsters, the show lost relatability and authentic character beats. I agree with you. Deranged Lunatic, I don't get the point of changing their graduation gowns from year to year. My school colors were black and orange, and that's the way it was from year to year. That's the point I'm making. Wait for it. We're getting there. Okay. So back to it then. Let's talk about Dimension X. So Dimension X, remember they said all these creatures, they like it cold. And they've made it a point since the very beginning to point this out to us. They get weaker when it is hot. But when they get to Dimension X, when they get to this planet, it's like a desert. It's hot. There are no Demogorgons, no Demodogs, and no Demobats. We've never seen the Demobats again. They just showed up. They killed poor Eddie, one of the most popular characters they've ever introduced, and disappeared, never to be heard or spoken of again. Ever. So they get there, and they seem to do all of this super easy. They broke into the base really easy. They got to the dimension really easy. And then all of the sudden, like even when they're in the dimension and Will is making contact mentally, like psychically with Henry, with Vecna, like his hand gets shot when he's experiencing that memory of Henry killing his first person and making contact with the Mind Flayer for the first time. And he feels it and he reacts to it like, oh, it's fine. I'm going to kick God. But then when 11 impales Vecna, nothing happens to Will. When Joyce chops off Vecna's head, nothing happens to Will. What happened to that connection? What happened to it? The Duffers are like, well, you don't see what happens to Will when that happens because He's not on screen. So again, shit happens off screen. Stop it. Stop it. So then you have a bunch of kids, you know, with knives attached to broomsticks, the trash can army attacking the mind flayer, which now looks like a giant dung beetle instead of this spooky, imposing smoke monster. And you're telling me this general, this Vecna, which by the way, Stranger Things has always operated off the rules of Dungeons and Dragons, which I have only played once, kinda, I think. Yeah. It's always operated off the rules of Dungeons and Dragons, and in Dungeons and Dragons, Vecna is like stupid hard to kill. And yet, they managed it relatively easy. Like, how did Eleven know that's where she should go? Like, there's so many questions. So many questions. So they kill them, kill Vecna, with Joyce having 0 upper body strength or the dullest axe ever. And then we have probably the worst sin that the Duffers have ever committed. So it's the is she dead or isn't she dead? The Duffers have committed to absolutely nothing in this season. And I do have to wonder, is it like a Dungeons and Dragons thing? Like, are they trying to make us the dungeon masters? Like, I understand that Mike is the dungeon master. He's the storyteller. He's the one telling the story and blah, blah, blah. But are they trying to make us the dungeon masters where it's up to us to decide, like choose your own adventure crap? And that's not the job of a storyteller at all. It's a cowardly way out. They're too scared. They're too afraid of people getting mad at them for the ending they want to choose, that they've chose nothing. So at the end of this battle, we see Elle standing on the other side of the portal as the Upside Down is being swept up in this explosion, because they set off bombs at the center of the Upside Down where that big energy source was that Brenner had created for reasons. And everything's being destroyed, including the bunch of pregnant women. There's still a bunch of pregnant women in that military lab. They're like, fuck them. It's fine. Whatever. And so Elle's standing there like, gotta go. And they've got the kryptonite going. But I'm not sure how this is working, Like, what are the mechanics here? What are the physics? Because the speakers look like they're facing towards the tanks and not towards the gate. And it's a different dimension. So are the sound waves, like, do they cross over like that? Does it operate? I don't know how this works. But she's standing on the other side of the gate, choosing to stay there while the Upside Down disappears with it. And she enters Mike's mind to tell him, I love you, but I have to do this. Bye-bye. Tell everyone, etc. And then the military disappears too. And then at the very end, when we see the kids deciding, playing Dungeons and Dragons one last time together sounds way better than going to some dumb high school party and getting loaded, which as a teenager, you would not make that choice. But as an adult, you'd be like, yeah, that sounds like way better. Way better idea. He tells them that she talked to him and explained that to him, but he chooses to believe that it's very, they've left it up to interpretation. So he says that 8, Kali, said, this is where my story ends, but it doesn't have to end for you, because Kali had seen how much love Elle really had and that she deserved to continue to have a life of love. So Kali does the illusion, creates the illusion that Elle is about to be, destroyed in the Upside Down. And she's the one who enters Mike's mind and tells him all that stuff. And that Elle actually snuck out of the military truck and sneaks out through the sewers, like Hop had foreshadowed earlier in the story. However, the kryptonite was going, because during the graduation, Mike's like triggered by the speakers and he thinks back to the kryptonite, like, we don't really know why. Like, is he thinking about that's how his girlfriend died? Or wait, how did she talk to me? I don't know. Nobody knows. All we know is Mike's telling them that she snuck out of the military truck and ran off in the sewers. But how could she have done that when we've seen 1,000 bajillion times that whenever the kryptonite is going, she just lays there and goes, ah, ah. But then we see Elle in her season 1 color palette in Iceland. They actually filmed it in Iceland. Like this one scene, and I don't even think it's 10 seconds of her walking up a little hill here and looking out over waterfalls. And there are 3 waterfalls. And she even asked it. Well, he said, we'll go somewhere far away where there are three waterfalls. And she asks him, is that place even real? And he says, probably not. I made it up. And then he's telling the story, and it's a place with 3 waterfalls. So, and they all like, I choose to believe, I believe. So, okay. There's that. Okay. Now, let's check it with the chat. Backyard Tower to Smoke Monster. This is really lost. Deranged Lunatic. I think when it all boils down, the series is going to be remembered as a nothing burger. And this is where the conformity gate comes from. This is where the conformity gate goes. Okay. So remember, I mentioned all the inconsistencies, all the weird things. The Duffers have, up at least until this point, were known to be insanely detail oriented, incredibly detail oriented, down to just the minutia of everything, colors, everything. Everything meant something. So make sure you freeze frame things and write it down for later and study it. Okay. So it wasn't like they really would do anything on accident or forget things. Remember in season 3, and Will painted that picture for Mike of them fighting the 3-headed dragon. And at the end of season 5, Mike has it hanging up in the basement. In Dungeons and Dragons, that's known as the false Hydra. You cut off a head, chopping off Vecna's head, and another one grows back. Okay, stay with me. The false Hydra in Dungeons and Dragons is a gaslighter. He can trap an entire town in kind of like a matrix, like a hypnotic fake world, but he doesn't quite get everything correct. He makes the entire town think people are missing, people who are dead. You know, he thinks they're just gone or on missions or whatever, or like forget they existed. But he makes people think they're okay as subtle things are, you know, kind of off as he grows bigger and stronger. He's a challenging psychological horror for the dungeon master. Who's the dungeon master? Mike. And in all the character posters, everyone's looking away, but Mike's looking at the camera. Will painted it. Mike has hung it. And they tell you in Dungeons and Dragons to look for subtle indiscrepancies in order to discover if you've been trapped by the false Hydra. Will says when he's talking about, when he's, you know, in his coming out, he's talking about, you know, his favorite memories. And he talks about going to Melvald's and having milkshakes with Mike and his friends. Melvald's doesn't have milkshakes. It's just like a little dollar store. The last time it had milkshakes is when Henry was a kid. Henry had milkshakes at Melvald's, not Will. Again, Stranger Things operates on Dungeons and Dragons rules. Loki asks, what edition of Dungeons and Dragons are they running? This is important. No idea. I don't play it. My kids do, though. I should have asked them. They're always busy. They're in their 20s. So they don't have time for me. They're busy, important people. I don't have time for mom. It's fine. It's okay. I was 20 once also. But they're also saying Netflix has an important announcement in 2 days on November 7th. Remember, and this one's pretty out there, but Joyce went batshit crazy for 6 days. 6 days before everyone was like, holy shit, Joyce is right. Oops, we're so sorry. You're right. Your son is not dead. And he was abducted by monsters. Okay. The finale dropped on New Year's Eve. 7 days later is January 7th, which is when Netflix has a big announcement. Will an additional finale for Stranger Things be announced? I don't know. But stranger things have happened. See what I did there? Speaking of dates, Lucas mentions the dates. He mentions the dates. Nothing comes of it. Really? Just like, oh, that's when he's going to move the planet. Nothing. So, also, this lady I want to show you, I don't know who she is, but I came across this, and she says that Netflix has not registered the finale as an official episode. As far as it's been registered, it's basically a promo. So we're going to watch this real quick. Here we go. Let me turn this up.
I think I'm about to do it again. If you click this comment right here, it's going to bring you to a video where I predicted the ending of Stranger Things. I'm about to predict something else, and it's not going to be based off of clips of episodes. It's going to be based off of legal due process. If you do not want to listen to me explain it, this is a QR code right here. You can simply scan it. It's going to give you an AI prompt, and you can put it into any AI platform of your choice. It's going to break down this entire due process for you. It's also going to cite where you can get that information from if you want to just consume it yourself and fall down the rabbit hole that I've been under for the last 4 days. If you want to listen to me explain it, I'm going to do it right now for you. First, you think about who the fan base is of Stranger Things. You could put us into 2 buckets, and we're both going to feel very differently about that finale. The first bucket are going to be the people that are there for the story, the action, the characters, the buildup, the nostalgia that they get from there. Then you're going to have this bucket right here, and that's the bucket that I fall into. Something that you should know about me before we get started is my special interests are people, puzzles, and problems, and that's exactly what this is. And if those are your special interests as well, it's probably one of the reasons that you love Stranger Things. If you're in this category, we watched this finale and we just kept saying this doesn't make sense. And that is because the Duffer Brothers are completely meticulous, and that's how they gained us as a fan base. What we watched looked like seasons. Same actors, long run times, media promotion, as well as release dates. And I'll tell you, you probably think I'm crazy. If you go onto Netflix and you look at season 5, it's going to say S5 : and it's going to say E1, episode 1. And that's an analoging issue. That actually is a known problem with Netflix. It's simply just the only way that Netflix can take that content and put that out there. That's the first thing that trips you up when you talk about kind of that due process and how Netflix goes into actually releasing a show. What naturally ended up happening is we consumed this as seasons with episodes, and that's how it registered to us. But that leads us right into the biggest problem. The Duffer Brothers never registered this season. In order to be considered a final episode, you have to do 3 things. You need to have a final episode ID, legal release status, and then you have to enter it into the distribution and measurement system. That's the legal side of this. This is what you have to do in order to officially produce a show. All of those things together make it an official episode. And what we just watched is not registered that way. And don't you worry, I already checked. Seasons 1 through 4 were absolutely registered that way. So I'm sure, just like I was trying to figure out, what did we just watch? Since that footage is not released or registered the same way that we have with all of the other previous episodes that we've watched, it's basically a giant promo. And if you're looking for the legal terminology here, I wrote it down for you. So what was released was we actually had long form video content made from licensed material and promotional edits. You just watched the longest ad of your life. If you really want to be a hater and be like, oh, it's just a paperwork thing. They just did it differently. They're doing a spinoff. They're starting a universe. Like, it can be totally explained. Then I have one final question for you to think about. Why did all of the other seasons take 6 months to film and this one took a year? They're not going to release extra minutes. They're releasing a whole other official season 5.
Now, I don't know if I believe her or not, but she's absolutely right on the registering and the coding. I clicked on the QR code and it's right there. It's absolutely right there. So, and hey, there's Sonia. Good morning, Dom. Films and Fiction. So here's the thing. Oh, real quick. I'm going to give you a couple other things to chew on. In the end credits, which play to Heroes, which is only ever played when they show us something which turns out to be a total lie. There is a D&D die by the Player's Manual, which the Player's Manual has a 4th volume behind it. The die is a 7. Now in season 1, that's what Will had rolled, kind of indicating that they had actually lost. That they're actually trapped by this false Hydra in this false world. And that's why everything is slightly off. That's why it was so easy. That's why there was no demos anywhere. That's why everything is just a little weird. They also, when they have that reality bites moment on the roof with the older kids of the group, the adult ones like Steve and Robin and Nancy and Jonathan. Apparently, Robin and Vicky broke up off screen too. Like all this stuff happening off screen. Stupid. So all this stuff just seeming off is a lot of people are talking about is indicating that they actually lost and that they're trapped by the false Hydra. Like they're in this false world. There's also a 4 written by Mike's head in the credits in the player's manual, and by Max there's written a JK 95. No idea. So there's that stuff. That's the end credit stuff. All right. So now what you're left to think about is, did they just Game of Thrones this? Like, well, you know, Dani kind of forgot about the Iron Fleet. Did they just Game of Thrones this? And this is going to go down in history as the greatest fumble of all time in all television history and all streaming history. Or they're about to do the craziest, most impressive thing ever and drop a surprise finale episode. Like do you think that's going to happen? While you are thinking about that and putting your answers in the comments, let's talk about this interview. Because like I said, they are very much turning into the Dan and Dave. The Dan and Dave of Netflix. Oh my goodness. I've been here so long, I gotta pee. Omari! It's hard to top Game of Thrones as far as fumbling the landing. Dani didn't come out of Dragosexual before John killed her. Films and fiction, there's still such rubbish in the first 7 episodes that can't be explained away by a fake ending. Toth, agreed. Okay. So since the finale, the final season has come out, the Duffers have given some interviews, and good God, even James Gunn is looking at these interviews going, dude, just shut up. Just stop talking. Just stop talking. Dude, Terry Matalas has been roasting this finale. Terry Matalas, like other showrunners, other filmmakers are roasting them. It's that bad. So they've said some stupid, crazy shit. Like, let's see. Travis says Randy Havens did an interview or he flat out says that there's an extended Snyder cut or season 5 out there. Oh, good God. For Raw Stuffer, that sentimental moment is also about Mike remembering all the joys that he had as a kid, them looking back at Holly and her friends playing D&D. Those memories will always be there for him, but it's time to move on. The next generation who can be heard playing in the background will go on to have their own amazing childhood, but the story is over once Mike shuts the door. The Stranger Things journey now completed. The Duffer Brothers are opening up about their emotional final chapter. Keep reading for a dive in. Like, also, why was it called The Right Side Up? Okay. I need to find So, because I didn't. Did I save it? Okay. No, that's not it. So they're saying that because, Henry picks up the rock with the hand he was shot with, because that's what you would do when you're in extraordinary pain. You've been shot. And we're like, where did this dude get this rock? Why is it in a suitcase? Why is he in a hole in the ground in a mine in the Arizona desert? Like, why is he there? And the Duffers say the spinoff is going to delve into that and explain it, but it's a completely different mythology, so it's not a deep exploration of the mind flayer or anything like that. It's very fresh and very new, and will answer some of the loose threads that are remaining. That's not how you do that. Like, you should have just wrapped that shit up. That's what you should have done. You should have, if it's going to be totally different and you're moving on from that, then you should have wrapped up all of those threads with that series. You've got Hopper getting engaged to Joyce with the ring that Jonathan was going to propose to Nancy with. That's another like weird thing. Like, and saying, let's move to Montauk, where, the MK Ultra stuff was. Like, so they're saying that in this interview that the lives, the ending was okay. The Duffer Brothers explain why there were no Demogorgons. This is okay. Here we go. The Demogorgons. The big question as to why there were no demos with the fight with the Mind Flayer and Vecna. They explained there were no Demogorgons in the Stranger Things series finale. Mainly, it's just that Vecna was not expecting the sneak attack on his home turf. Never in a million years could he have imagined that. They're there somewhere. What it? They don't even know. They don't even know. It's their thing. They don't even know. They have no idea. Duffer Brothers and Eddie Munson. We created the character of Eddie because that's who we wish existed in high school to rescue us. But then just kind of left everything else about him there forever. Never to return again. Oh my God. I'm trying to find okay, so let's see. During the party's D&D campaign, Mike tells the story of 11 possibly escaping the Upside Down and moving to a small village. Why did you leave her ending ambiguous? Here we go. Matt, what we wanted to do was confront the reality of what her situation was after all and how she could live a normal life. These are questions that we've been posing this season that Hopper just doesn't even want to think about. Mike obviously talked about it a lot, but it's sort of this fantasy version that would never work. There are two roads that 11 could take. There's this darker, more pessimistic, and the more optimistic, hopeful one. Mike is the optimist of the group and has chosen to believe that story. Ross. There was never a version of the story where 11 was hanging out with the group at the end. For us and our writers, we didn't want to take her powers away. She represents magic in a lot of ways and the magic of childhood. And our characters move on And for the story of Hawkins and the Upside Down come to a close, 11 had to go away. We thought it would be beautiful if our characters continued to believe the happier ending, even if we didn't give them a clear answer to whether that's true or not. And the fact that they're believing in it, we just thought it was such a better way to end the story and a better way to represent the closure of this journey and their journey from children to adults. Matt. And the reality is, even if 11 is out there, the most that they could hope for is a belief that it's true, because they can't be in contact with her. Everything falls apart if that were the case. So if that's the narrative, this is really the best way to keep her alive. And it's about Mike and everyone finding a way to move past what's happened. But it's never... She's Schrodinger's dog. She's Schrodinger's 11 at this point. She's alive and she's dead at the same time. It's the most cowardly way out of writing a finale. They couldn't make a decision. They were too scared to. So they did this. And see, over here, that is the false Hydra painting. The Russians, the military, they've all vanished. All of them. And you're telling me the Russians, the military, no one can find her in Iceland? Mike couldn't have gone with her to Iceland? We could have found another way to end it. That's dumb. It's lazy. It's cowardly. It's dumb. So they say all these stupid things. They basically just dig holes for themselves, like between 11's end and the Demogorgons. Like, they just give all these really bad, like, well, we didn't know what to do, so we did nothing. That's what we did. We did nothing. So the following day, this is real. This is a real quote from I believe it was, is it Ross? I don't know. I get them confused all the time. The Duffer Brothers address fans' response to the interviews they have done following the finale of Stranger Things. Like, why the hell did we do any of those yesterday? It's beyond me. I'm like fried. I was getting over the flu. So anyone mad at any answers we gave you yesterday, just cut me some slack. You know, I was getting over the flu. I was dehydrated. I was suffering from extreme exhaustion. I was hungover. I was on acid. I took an Ambien. Going through a divorce. I accidentally ate some undercooked chicken. You know, so I gave some answers that were just not the best. So if you could just give me some grace, I would appreciate that. You know, just some grace. I ate some undercooked chicken, took an Ambien, gave some silly Billy answers. Like, at this point, you just gotta, like, for real, what is happening here? What is happening? This is a real statement. Yeah, it's from Matt. Come on, dude. James Gunn is taking notes. Like, seriously, this is some crazy shit. Like I said, this is either going to go down in history as the biggest fumble, a historic fumble in series history, or they've really got something crazy up their sleeve, because we've been here for over an hour and a half. Like, I'm sitting here like doing the pee dance. I've really got to pee. I mean, we've been here like an entire stream, an entire episode about this one topic. We've never done this before. This series, just one episode, had so many problems with it that it filled an entire episode. Like, I had to scroll like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 times to get down through all of my notes. My notes are just a list of inconsistencies and plot holes and problems. And I know I've missed things. Oh, Mari, we'll be right back to. I have an intermission thing, but I'm wearing yoga pants and it won't be right back. I've got these nails on and they're hard to pull up with the nails. It's like, if you're going to do a choose your own adventure in D&D, like, I think they might have gotten those a little confused. You know, because the dungeon master dictates the story, and depending on what the player's role, that depends on where the story goes. Am I right? I think I'm right. I played it once. It's not like whatever you choose it to be kind of thing. Oh, well, I decide this is the ending. No, you're a storyteller. Your job is to tell us a story. You didn't really do that. So either they really are planning some surprise, haha, gotcha, there's more. But wait, there's more. There's a false Hydra. Or they have just toppled Game of Thrones as the absolute worst fail of all time. Like, they had Holly's Under Armour showing when she escaped the first time, but they've gone back and scrubbed that. They're like, oh, kind of like the Starbucks cup in episode 4 of season 8 of Game of Thrones. They went back and scrubbed it after people were like, hey, what's that? They had Holly's Under Armour shirt and they went back and they scrubbed that. But they can't go back and scrub all these other problems. Like, there's just far too many. So again, what do you guys think? Are you team ConformityGate? Do you think that they're actually going to drop like another finale? Do you think they've got a surprise sneak attack finale coming for us? Or do you think they are just that shitty? Do you think they just really like gave up and said, peace, we're going Paramount? Woo! Tell me in the comments below. It is time to wrap things up because yes, mama's gotta pee. C. I got to pee. Remember, I don't know if you caught this news, but I'm writing a comic book. Hey, friends, do you like sci-fi, horror, magic, ancient Greek deities, superheroes with weaponized prosthetic legs, humor, and stuff like that, then chances are you're going to love my work in progress comic book. Insert name later. I'm working on it. It's great. And it's super cool. And you can actually read some sneak peeks on my Patreon right here. Patreon.com/comicsand. You should help fund indie creators. Why? Because you complain constantly that everything's boring these days. Everything's boring. We just talked about for an hour and a half how Stranger Things totally dropped the ball. Even comic books, everything's corporate now, and they have these, studio executives with these directives to do this, do that, check those boxes. Indie creators don't have that. They don't. So why don't you help support the indie creators who can actually put out something brand new and interesting? And what better way to start than one of your favorite online content creators? I'm talking about me. So head on over to patreon.com/comics and sign up in the original Nerdling Army and help me get this comic book made. I've only been trying, or there's things, but trying for 20 years. But seriously, go check it out in a second. But go check it out. Okay. Promise. Seriously, help me out here. Okay. But yes, patreon.com. It's a great way to support what I'm doing here and to support indie creators and just tell the industry to go F itself and get some new stuff out there. If you would like to help support this show or my comic book or both, and you don't want to sign up as a member of the channel, which I highly recommend. Okay. Thursday, we're doing Throwback Theater Thursday. Throwback Thursday Theater on Thursday at 5 p.m. Central Time. We're doing Farscape. We do that over on the Discord. Sign up as a member of the channel. That's one of the perks, is the Throwback Thursday Theater. You also get emojis and some special things, some extra content, etc. And supers get extra content. We haven't got any supers today. I have special little videos and stuff I play for supers, so check that out. But if you don't want to do those things and you still want to help support the channel, hitting the like button, subscribing if you're new, sharing content, leaving comments. We're still like 150 hours away, guys. The time off kind of took a hit. So, watching videos, leaving comments, because we're still doing the giveaway, sharing the content helps support the channel. But if you don't want to do those things, or you want to do those things and other things, you can scan this QR code right here, or it takes you to this link, buymeacoffee.com/comicsmua, and you can chip in as little or as much as you can, and all those proceeds go to pay me for bringing you all of this joy. It literally helps keep the lights on here at Comics and helps support my work on the comic book as well, which I wish I could just be like, look over here, and I can't do that. So thank you so much. I have to cough. Again, patreon.com/comicsam. There's also Cash App, $ DanielleSoncasie. Also help support the comic book and the channel. There's also my official merch store over at comicsandcosmetics.etsy.com. Hundreds of designs made by yours truly on hundreds more of products. What better way to get something in return for showing your support than by getting something nice and nerdy and shiny? Yeah. I also have some affiliate stuff, and you can look in the description below for all of that. This podcast is powered by the Red 5 Network. We are a collective of exclusively nerdy podcasters and content creators here to educate and entertain you. So if you like this podcast, chances are you're going to like more of what the Red 5 Network has to offer you. So go to red5.bio.link today to discover more of your Red 5 family of podcasts. Everything I've told you about, maybe not everything, I need to update it. I've been super busy. Can be found on my website, comics-and.com. All of my reviews, all of my special effects looks, updates about the channel, information about the channel, and a little bit about it. Yours truly. It can be found at comics-and.com. So go check that out. Again, patreon.com/comicsand. Help support indie content creators. Going back to the chat. Yes, thank you, everyone. Make sure you hit the like button. Dom, after season 3, I'm not giving the Duffers the benefit of the doubt. Okay, so we're all team. They just suck. Good to know. Good to know. Well, that's all I got for you guys today. Be sure to mark down Wednesdays. You will find me over at the Latino Slant at 1 Central Standard Time, I believe it is, for our mid-roast. We have a good time over there. We've done 2 episodes so far, and then we went on break for the holiday. So every Wednesday, you'll find me over there. And Thursdays, members over on the Discord, our Throwback Thursday Theater. We're watching Farscape right now. Every Friday or Saturday, but I'm aiming for Friday, I'll have a new vlog uploaded on the Patreon for people interested in comic book stuff, and I'm going to be posting on the Patreon as often as possible to keep you updated about the comic book. I'm in the middle of my second round of rewrites right now. Very excited about it. Very excited. So again, check that out for more information. You guys are the best. Stay awesome, stay nerdy, and keep your eyes peeled, because I heard
Disney and Kathleen Kennedy are gonna get you!